Good morning. Nice to see you all again. Just gonna wait a couple more minutes. Hello again, Taya. Good morning. Did anyone continue drawing yesterday after our session? Good morning. It was really fun to see all your little drawings yesterday. Hi, Abby. How's the music volume for you today? Is it too loud? Too soft? Can you still hear me? So we'll wait maybe 2 more minutes, so enjoy this coffee shop like music. Maybe drink some of your tea. How's my volume now? Maybe it's just because I'm moving. Can you hear my voice? Good morning, everybody. Okay. Test, test, test. Hello, hello. Okay. Just testing volume here. Oh, you can't hear anything? Interesting. Let's see if I can type. Is your computer muted? Did anyone else doodle yesterday after our little lesson? And what did you doodle? I guess I have to keep talking to make sure you can test your speakers here. Just to double check, everyone else can hear. I think I see 2 people who are having sound problems. Thank you. Okay. Nice. You doodled your family sledding and snow people. Love it. I want to see it, so make sure you post it, okay? Stephanie, maybe restart your Facebook and make sure that works. Hello. We'll just wait for a family hike. That's a cute one too. And again, make sure you post your drawings so we can all see if you're comfortable. There's no judgment here. It's just doodles. They're not meant to be famous works of art that are hanging in the museum. Just rough doodles. Okay. Let's check on Stephanie. Hello, Mari. Okay, maybe we will get started and hopefully others will join us and the sound will work. So, for today, I thought we would start with this creativity exercise. So listen very carefully. This is how it's going to work. You're going to draw from memory. So I will show you a picture for about 30 seconds, and you need to use your observation skills to remember as much as you can. And then I'm going to take the picture away, and you're going to try to redraw as much as you can remember from memory. Are you ready? So, again, I'm going to be showing you a picture, and you want to try to remember as much as you can for 30 seconds. So don't start drawing yet, just look. You want to look at basic shapes. I haven't showed you the picture yet because I'm going to time you. You want to look at the basic shapes. You want to look at the relative sizes of the shapes to each other, positions of things. Okay, so here comes the picture for 30 seconds. So look for the basic shapes. What basic shapes do you see? What sizes are they compared to other things in the picture? Whenever I'm doing this exercise, I try to pick the biggest shapes first. Okay, and then the smallest details. Give you about 15 more seconds here. Okay, are you ready? I'm going to take the picture away, and you're going to try to draw as much as you can from memory. Go. So, if you remember, how many little animals were there? What shapes were their heads? What shapes were their bodies? Where were their heads in relation to each other? What else is around the three characters? Okay. So this exercise is good to help you kind of practice your observation skills, so you're really focused on basic shapes first. And I'll keep saying this because basic shapes are what's going to help you draw things as accurately as possible. Okay, I'll show you the picture one more time and see if you can gather more details after you've done your basic shapes. So after you get the biggest shapes, like the head shape, this head shape's the smallest, this one's in between the two head shapes. The bodies are kind of circular too. Some rectangular shapes for the feet and the legs. And then there's this semicircle for the horns of Lammy's dad. And then smaller details like the tie, bow tie, pearl necklace, pearl earrings, those would be the last kind of things that I would add. Awesome. Okay, so after that quick exercise, our doodle along today, I wanted to try to draw some trees with you. So here is my paper. You can use the same paper, you can use the back of your paper, or find an empty space, or get a new piece of paper. But we're going to doodle some trees. So basic trees that I see a lot of people draw look like this, with this cloud shape, right? Is that the kind of tree you usually draw? Maybe you're a little bit fancier and you add some more volume to your tree. But I want to teach you how to draw a few other different kinds of trees in case you want some variety in your doodles, or just to learn new different types of trees. So the first one I wanted to look at was a western cedar tree. So western red cedar trees are really big trees. They grow up to 60 meters tall. We're going to start with the trunk here. And they're kind of wider at the bottom, and they thin out at the top. We'll start that. And remember to draw lightly, because some of this part you might be erasing as you add leaves and things. Okay. So basic shape is a rectangle, if you can see that. And the leaves, you can lightly draw some guidelines. And this roughly, I'll move that. This roughly makes a triangular shape. Is that too late? So that's kind of, these are like your guidelines. And then the leaves, this is how I usually draw leaves really quickly. Okay, just little round scribbles. And on this side, they're kind of like the letter E if you're doing cursive. You can do a few here. And And you don't have to do it exactly like I'm doing it because every tree is kind of different. Their leaves grow kind of in different ways. And there are a lot of different ways you can draw trees. So this is just one way that I do it. And you can see sometimes I add extra guidelines too as I go if I feel like this part's looking a little bit bald. Okay. And to make it look more natural, you don't have to fill in all the spaces. You can leave some empty space here. After you've done a few, you can take a step back and look, see where you think there needs to be more leaves. And when I'm drawing trees, I don't really have a specific order that I complete the drawing. I usually start with the trunk though. Start with the trunk, make sure I kind of know where some of the branches will be, and then I work on the foliage until I like it. A little bit here, a little bit here. Kind of like that. And right here, to me, it looks like this part's a little bit sparse, so I'll add a few more. And again, you're just doodling. They're just fun doodles. And then, if you want to add some more texture to the bark here, you can lightly do some vertical lines. Try not to do them super evenly, because that doesn't look very natural. You have some lines close together, some darker, some lighter, a little bit squiggly, and at the bottom the roots kind of go outward like that. And if you don't want the trunk to be showing too much here, you can either add more foliage, or you can erase it and then go over some of your branches. Or if you're planning to outline it later with a pen, you can just erase all your pencil after. Mine are also scribbles, but you want to try to control your scribbles a little bit more. So if you look at me drawing, I'm kind of, here, I'll show you here, a little bit bigger. So this is a branch, and I wanted to draw some leaves. I kind of start with the bigger kind of pine needles, I guess, or leaves, and then they taper towards like a smaller point. Does that help a little bit? If you want to add some shading, decide which direction your light's going to come from. So I already darkened that side, so my light's going to be coming from this side. So there's my light source. And that means this side gets a little bit darker, and this side will mostly stay light. Good. So another common kind of tree that we often draw are pine trees. So pine trees are this basic shape, which is a triangle. And for pine trees, I like to start at the top this time because I want to see the layers. So I try not to use a lot of straight lines when I'm drawing trees, just because straight lines aren't really natural. So I'll start with like the top, do a section, and then I'll do another section. And again, these lines are pretty scribble-like. And that's what's gonna give it kind of a rougher, more natural texture. And as you can see, I'm kind of going outside of my little guideline for my triangle, which is totally fine. And then I just went back and I added a little bit of a texture, more texture. And I'm trying to be consistent with the light on this side. So if you notice, this side's a little bit lighter. This side I'm kind of shading a bit more. And then you can easily turn this into a Christmas tree if you add ornaments. So that will come in handy when you're making your Christmas gifts this year. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to a different kind of tree. This kind of tree I just learned about yesterday. I'm not really an expert on different kinds of trees, but this one was really cool. It's called the Rocky Mountain Juniper tree. And this tree is kind of shrubby and it has a wide, irregular, round crown, which is the top of the tree. And it has a knotty, twisted trunk. So this twisted trunk, I'm going to start again at the roots, make it like that wide. And this one's going to have a twist in it. And there's going to be branches that branch out. So the branches that branch out from the base will get thinner. So farther away from the trunk, your branches will continue going thinner and thinner. So if you want to continue here, you notice this branch is thinner than that part's thinner than this part. But that's the basic rule. Because science. So again, you can make your tree grow however you want. I'm gonna make my tree like this. I'm gonna add an extra one kind of close by behind it. Smaller branches. So if you notice, I haven't added texture yet. You want to try to get your basic shape in first. Okay. Maybe I want a little one here. So again, this little branch is smaller than this part. This little branch is smaller than this part. Okay, and then to draw the leaves, I start kind of out at the top here. And again, it's similar to this one. It's gonna be scribble-ish. I'm gonna do small circles. This is just my way of drawing leaves on trees really quickly. It's also a mindfulness activity for me. If I need to calm down or just have a moment, I like to draw lots of leaves on trees. So you can do single little circles, or you can do a series of circular strokes. can make some circles bigger. The bigger ones will look like they're closer to you, and the smaller ones will look like they're either baby leaves or they're just behind. And if you think you need more branches, you can just go ahead and add them. Add them in there. And my trees are overlapping, which is totally fine because you're just doodling. Is everyone doing okay still? Not going too fast. So this tree looks kind of sparse behind, so I'm lightly adding some leaves kind of behind my trunk. So there's a couple ways you can make things look like they're farther away. You can make things lighter, you can make things smaller. Okay. So I think I'm adding another branch here. Cool. And then, because, like I said, the trunk of this tree is kind of knotty, it has knots. You can draw some knots by doing little circles, and then when you draw your texture, you can go around the little knots. Make it look like it has a couple knots. Okay, you can even have like the little knot coming out of the side of your tree. I'll add another one here just so you can see. How's that? So the ground would be along here. If you like, you can do a little patch of grass. Just a hint of grass. And again, with the lines, you don't want them to be equal distance apart. You want them to look kind of natural, so you can do it in clusters. Leave some space. Okay. And let's do one more kind of tree for today. Let's do a dogwood tree, Pacific dogwood. So very similar. We're going to start with a trunk like the first one here, but it's going to be a bit thinner. So we're going to start with a thinner trunk. Kind of a thin, straight trunk. And again, I don't know a lot about trees, so if you have any fun facts you want to share, that would be cool. I just know how to look and draw. So for the dogwood tree, some of the branches kind of curve downwards. Out and downwards. guess I should show you the basic shape of what the tree is going to look like. It's going to look like an oval. Kind of like that. So sometimes I forget because I have the basic shape in my head, but I have to remember to draw it so you guys can see it. So this is the basic shape that I had in my head. Imaginarily, I drew it with my head, but here it is. And that's kind of what's guiding how far I go with these branches here. And trunks, they grow and they get thinner towards the top. At the top, I'll split it into a bunch. Everyone's still doing okay? Okay, and the leaves, I usually do it the same way if I'm just doodling. If you wanted to make it look really realistic, you'd have to use all your observation power and take a bit more time. But because we're just doodling and having fun, you can just do the hint of the leaves like I do. Okay, and again I start on the outside for this one. Lots of little circles and scribbles. Oop, slipped. That's okay. And just a reminder that in the group there is a post where you can comment below with any drawing requests or things you want to learn. You can always comment there and I'll look there and make my plans accordingly. And I know you all have things that you desperately want to doodle. So make sure you comment there. Okay. And a little note on these side branches that are coming off of my main trunk. I'll draw a little bit darker so you can kind of see a little bit better how they would look as they're growing. So there's like that little branch going into the trunk. If the branch is coming from behind the tree or behind the trunk where you can't see, you can draw the side of your trunk and then draw your branch. So that kind of divides that. Yes, we can learn how to draw food and dogs for sure. I will try to remember and add it to the list, or you can add to the comment as well. Okay, and then again, we'll keep the light source coming from that side, and for this one too. And there's gonna be shade on one side. And you can do a little like some small lines on this side so it's not totally smooth and reflexive. Okay, and for this one, this part of the branch is behind the main trunk, so I'm gonna give a little bit more of a shadow here. And when you're shading the trees, I want to try to follow the texture lines. So instead of just shading like this, I will shade along the curve. And this one. Yep, I think people is already on the list. People is a really complex thing to draw, so I might break it up into parts. People for sure. I think I might start with showing you some fancy stick people, so move you beyond this kind of stick person to something more like that, something more expressive. Do you think that would be helpful? And another note on shading, if you're shading with a pencil, you want to start lightly and you can layer on top. I wouldn't go in right away and do super dark strokes like this, just in case you're not totally sure if you like the shadow there. So start lightly, go in layers, make it darker and darker and darker. Okay. All right. So here we made 4 different kinds of trees to give you more vocabulary than this standard cartoon tree. Yep, llamas and sloths are already on the list. I think you previously commented that, so it will be coming up soon. Alright, so what I would like you to do for our after session doodle is I want you to create a forest scene with at least 2 different kinds of trees. And they don't have to be these trees. You can look up your own trees as well if you want to try that. I want you to create a forest scene, but it has to include the following mystery object. You ready? The mystery object I want you to include in your drawing today is this. So in your forest scene that has at least 2 different kinds of trees, I would like you to incorporate this object. So there's a couple ways you can think of using it. You can think of it as it is, as a key, or you can use the shapes to inspire you. You can use parts of the shape, and not the whole thing. Okay? Is that kind of clear? This is kind of like your assignment for today. Let me know. I like all the suggestions. Penguins, polar bears, love it. Minecraft, sure, I will look into that. Houses, I love drawing houses. Architecture is my thing, so we'll do some architectural drawing later on. Okay, are there any questions before I let you go doodle? So again, one more time, these are the trees we looked at. Try to think of a light source as you're drawing. And your little assignment is to draw a forest scene incorporating this object somehow, or parts of this object somehow. If you need to remember what it looks like, you can always refer back to this video. Okay, so that's it for today. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'm excited to see your forest drawing soon. Okay, take care, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.